spiritual death and our eternal death. Because if we die in trespasses and sin, we are lost. Physically, spiritually, and eternally. Satan knew that God required death for us because of sin. It is appointed unto man but once to die, and then the judgment. And if we die in our sin, we will end up with Satan in that place of torment and suffering for eternity. But if we die knowing Christ and his forgiveness, then we shall live with him hereafter, eternally in heaven. You know, death has become the most certain fact in life. We all know one day we are all going to die. We can't get away from that. We've heard tragically this morning the death of loved ones, family members, friends. Suddenly, death has become the most certain fact of life. We don't know when it's going to happen, but it happens. And Satan wants to hold on to men until they die, because once they are dead, the opportunity of salvation is gone forever. There's no second chance when we die. We will hear the words, "Get thee behind me, for I know you not," from the lips of Jesus. Satan wants to hold on to men until they die, because there's no second chance for them. One of the devil's goals is to hold us in his possession until death, because he knows that there is no escape for us once death has taken place. And then John tells us the devil has been sinning from the beginning. That's why he was cast out of heaven. Notice John points out for us that the source of sin is the devil. And even Jesus said, "He that is not with me is against me." The source of sin is the devil. And all sin originates with Satan. And there has never been a sin committed that has not had its origin in a satanic mind. How are we to understand this phrase, "The devil has been sinning from the beginning"? I came across an explanation by J.A. Bengal, who said that from the beginning means from the time when the devil was the devil. He wasn't always the devil. He was an angelic being. But it began when the devil became the devil. How long Satan existed in his angelic form in that heavenly place, we don't know. The Bible doesn't tell us how long he was in that angelic form. But when he fell into sin by rebelling against God, he became the originator of original sin. It was the devil who enticed Adam and Eve, and through them, you and I became infected by sin. And so far we have seen the devil holds the power of death and that he has been in that state of sin since the beginning. The other thing we learn about him is he wants to take each one of us down with him into that fiery pit. I read a story about two boys who were walking home from Sunday school, and they were sharing and reflecting on the lesson that they had in Sunday school. And they had been looking at the temptation of Jesus in the wilderness. And little Peter said to his friend John, "Do you believe all that stuff about the devil? Do you really believe there is a devil?" And John looked at him and said, "Nah, it's like Santa Claus. It's your dad." Many of us like to pretend that the devil is just a myth. He's a little red being with two horns and a pitchfork in his hand. Believe more in the myth than in the devil. And not only is he for real, he wants to bring us into sharing that reality with him. What has been Satan's desire from the beginning of time? It was to be worshipped. And when he tempted Jesus, he desired for Jesus to worship him. He got thrown out of heaven because he wanted to be worshipped, and then he dares to tempt the Son of God to worship him. The devil desires the same for us. He wants us to bow down to him. And how do we bow down to the devil? Every time we sin, we bow down to Satan and turn our backs on Jesus. The devil knows that he is doomed. He knows that he cannot stand up to God. He's bitter, he's envious, and he wants us to be on his side. He wants us to be on his team. Satan's desire is that you and I should share in his doom, eternal damnation. He wants to take us along for the ride. But you know, Jesus came to change all that. He came to destroy the works of the devil in the world and in humanity, in your life and my life. The second character we learn about in the passage of scripture that we read together is there is hope for humanity. And there are four things we learn about the passage that we read. We learn that we are made of flesh and blood. Well, we know that, don't we? We've been given bodies so that we might exist in the natural realm, the world around us. And as creatures of the natural world, we are subjected not only to the physical elements of the world, but also the spiritual elements of the world. And although this body of flesh and blood is made of the natural, we have been given a soul that will live through the supernatural. We are both creatures of this world and the world to come. Like Paul, who said, absent from the body, present with the Lord.